Hey guys, welcome back. Hope your guys' Friday was good. I might as well upload a video today, right? So I thought, what other good video than worst games of 2015, worst reviewed games, I should say. So some of these games I've never heard of, and some of these games I've heard of, and it makes me kind of sad because they used to be really good games. So this is from Metacritic. I'll have the link down below if you guys want to read the descriptions about each game and what they were, I guess. But yeah, so let's just jump right into it. Alright, so this is Metacritic's worst game of 2015, and it's gonna be... So I watched the trailer for this game just recently, like, right before I made this video, actually, so... the game trailer looked alright. I mean, I knew this series used to be really good. Just, it's not the same anymore, really, I guess. I guess visually the game's horrible, the sound is horrible, and just... everything about the game is a flaming pile of shit. So, I mean, the controls were bad. I just read a whole bunch of different reviews on what the game was, and people are just like dumbfounded how this series used to be so good, and now they just basically let it fall flat on its face. And it got a 19 out of 100 on Metacritic, so yeah, that's a lot. And this is what the Jimquisition said. Alone in the Dark, Illumination is ugly in every sense of the word. Not just visually, though it's about as attractive as an anus in an eye socket. Hideous both inside and out. It's the consumable fraud that hides behind the recognizable name to deliver interactive poison. So, yeah, pretty much the game sucked so much. Like, maybe they have different developers that worked on the game, and they just didn't try that hard, or they just kind of... we have a reputable name, we can make whatever the frick we want, so, I don't know. Yeah, so that's Metacritic's worst game, so... Alright, so moving on to the next one. Alright, the next one up is Afro Samurai 2, Revenge of Kuma Volume 1, for the PS4. Oh yeah, Survival or whatever game that was. Alone in the Dark was for the PC. Alright, so, I've played this game for literally 2 minutes, not this exact game, but I played the series. I wasn't a big fan of the series right from the get-go. I didn't like it at all. I don't know if the last games have been good, but I guess the sales on this game, it also carried out that Volumes 2 and Volumes 3 have been canceled. So Hardcore Gamer said, this title plays like a sarcastic version of a real game. I don't mind being mocked if I can laugh along, but this is just mean. So I didn't play this game, so I can't really speak for it, but... from what I've heard, this game is really bad. I mean, I read all their multiple reviews on Metacritic as well, and they weren't very good. So, yeah, just moving on. Raven's Cry for the PC. It's a 17th century pirate game that was basically ruined by bugs, and I guess they released the game with some patches under the name, you know, Vendetta: Curse of Raven's Cry, but it's still the same thing, basically. I mean, I don't know why they would re-release the game and call it a different name, and it's still as shitty as the first one. So, Game World Navigator said, we take the role of Christopher Raven, who has become a pirate captain after his family. Screw it, the game is terrible. I say that as a guy who honestly tried to become enamored for a week straight for the game. It got a 27 out of 100. And that was horrible. Afro Samurai got 21 out of 100. So, this game doesn't even look good visually on this screenshot here. I probably wouldn't have bought it. It just sounds like a stupid game. Like, Assassin's Creed Black Flag was really good, but this game, probably not. I always go back to the other Metacritic and look up the regular reviews of the game, so... But, all the reviews said this game, like, basically, it's trash. Like, they released this game and then they re-released another game along the same exact basically thing, so it's like, what the frick. Yeah, this series is probably dead. Topware Interactive is probably a dead company because this looked like a failed, buggy, just horrible game. So yeah, that was the third worst game on Metacritic of 2015. So moving on. Alright, so this game I can actually speak for. I haven't physically played it myself, but I was hyped up to get the game because I used to play the older Tony Hawk games. And Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. I knew the game was going to be on this list before I even clicked the link to open it. So it got a 32 out of 100. It's made by Activision, and I mean, obviously, it's the first Tony Hawk game to release in 8 years. So I was like, oh my gosh. I used to play the Underground series. I used to play American Wasteland. I used to play what was the other one? What was the other one? Project 8? I think that's what it was called. I'm not sure. I can't remember. But I used to play all these Tony Hawk games back in the day. They were so much fun on the PS2. And I had it for GameCube, I think, as well. And this is the PS4 version, so don't get me wrong here. Basically, like, I'm not sure if this was really in the reviews. I didn't see any, but I could be totally wrong. I guess the game had a whole bunch of sponsors. Like, they had a watch sponsor, a sponsor every 5 seconds, basically. Like, for the stopwatch, they had a sponsor for, like, a clock and all that good stuff. So they wanted $60 for the game, but it felt like a free-to-play game, basically, because there were sponsors galore all over the game. They said, Metro Game Central said, the game clearly isn't finished, and even if it was, the lack of ambition and budget is painfully obvious at every turn. Sad, pathetic end to a classic game franchise. So this game was horrible from the get-go. Once I looked up gameplay and watched some live streams of it, I totally turned off the game. The game did get a 38 on the Xbox One, but it's not much better, really, to be honest with you guys. And yeah, once this game released and I saw like what the gameplay was, I totally was turned off by it. I'm like, I don't know. You know, like, I don't know really, to be honest with you guys. Like, Tony Hawk used to be so good, like, back in the day. And then now they come out 8 years later and people are getting hyped up for it. And all of a sudden, oh, wow, okay, that's not the same game that I thought it was going to be. Because Pro Skater used to be really good. I didn't play the old Pro Skaters, but I figured, you know, maybe Tony Hawk is going to go for a sim this time. But I was way off. I should have known by the title, but, you know, whatever. All right, so moving on. The fifth worst game on here is made by Black Forest Games. Got a 32 out of 100. It's Gianna Sisters Dream Runners. It's a multiplayer reboot of the franchise that began in '87 with Super Mario Bros. Clone the great Gianna Sisters to basically have platforming and racing, but it does neither well at all. So official Xbox Magazine UK, this is for the Xbox One, obviously. Promising concept that is steamrolled in a game that doesn't really work as a platformer and breaks down entirely as a racer. We'd rather be kicked in the shins for 8 hours than play this again. So I've never heard of this game before, but from what I read and heard about it on Metacritic here, yep, I'm going to say that game sucks. Like, I can't talk about it because I don't know really what it is, to be honest with you guys. And then moving on, Zombie Year for the PC, it got a 32 out of 100. It's by U&I Entertainment. It's basically a zombie shooter loaded with humor, which provides to be undoing, according to the reviewers. To say that it's immature and painfully unfunny sense of humor would be appreciated by a 13-year-old as doing a decisive to the intelligence of a 13-year-old. A Zombie Year makes Duke Nukem Forever look like Whitnall and I, Game Revolution. Never heard of this game either, so I can't speak for this one. So, just moving right on, I guess. Godzilla. Okay, so I've heard about this game. I looked into it. I kind of wanted it after a while, but I wanted it, like, I was interested right away. I'm like, ooh, Godzilla, you know. That game used to be good back on the PS2, or whatever console it was. Got a 30 out of 100. It's by Bandai Namco. This is for the PS4 version of the game. Coming to North America, you know, first debuted in Japan. It's featuring a famed monster who commits the cardinal sin of being boring. So Games Radar said, you would think a game in which you can pimp slap a moth as a 40-foot tall garbage monster couldn't possibly be that bad. You would, however, be wrong. So, apparently this game was really buggy, and it just didn't work out very well at all, to be honest with you guys. It was a failed release. Graphically, the game sucked. It looked like it was literally straight up from PS2, with basically texture upgrades. That's about all I had going for it, but, all these games that I'm talking about, like, they have potential, but they don't live up to it. I'm surprised, like, oh, never mind, I'm stupid. Watch Dogs came out in 2014. Like, a lot of these games didn't live up to the hype. So yeah, a lot of these games didn't live up to the hype that, like, people brought on them, because I think they expected way too much from these games, to be honest with you guys. So, yeah, like, alright, so, moving on, we got Project Root. It's by Reverb Triple XP. It's for the Xbox One. It got a 38 out of 100. If they said if the project here was to prove that shoot 'em ups could be extremely tedious and designed poorly, well, mission accomplished. So we got this covered. It said unfairly difficult and technically incompetent. Project Roo is a classic example of a good game, good idea gone horribly wrong. So never heard of this game, so I can't talk about it. If you guys want to read about it, it'll be in the description. You guys can go to Metacritic or whatever and read about it. But it looks like one of those arcade top-down shooter games. But I don't know. Whatever. Alright, so here is the game I wanted to talk about. So this is really the game that I can talk about, like, aside from Tony Hawk's game. And yeah. And that is MX vs. ATV Supercross Encore for the PS4. And it came, I believe it came out on Xbox One, if I'm not mistaken. I know it's on PC, on Steam. So it got a 42 out of 100. It's by Nordic Games because THQ went out of business, so they bought out the license for MX vs. ATV, and everyone's like, oh, cool. Yeah. Wow. Alright, so I bought MX vs. ATV, like, the Unleashed, and then I bought Untamed, and then I skipped Reflex, and then I think I bought Alive. So, I mean, I've had experience with these games, so I didn't want to buy this because it was straight up Supercross only, which it's a really good idea. I mean, I love Supercross. I love watching it on TV and stuff. Well, it doesn't really work for this company because they don't have any experience making a MX vs. ATV game, so right there, it's already failed. Alive was really good. This game came out and everyone's like, oh yes, MX vs. ATV's back. But maybe some people didn't even know THQ got bought out either, so I mean, it's basically a port, from, PC, or not PC, basically, it's basically like MX vs. ATV Alive with worse graphics, and it looks like a PS2 game. It doesn't look even PS3 graphics. It looks horrible for a PS4 game, if that's what they want to call it, really. So, Brash Games, there's plenty of content here for those that learn to live with the awkward social scene. But even for those especially eager for the new off-road racer, this ugly and uncooperative return will provide an unwelcome reminder of just how the series has fallen from the grace. So I did rent this game, okay? It was the worst MX vs. ATV I've ever played in my entire life. The handling sucked, the graphics sucked, the sound sucked. Just the game all around was horrible. Like, it had so much potential to actually be a good game with the Supercross in it, but it's far from perfect, guys. If you guys want an MX vs. ATV game, you're better off getting a 360 or in PS3 to get like Untamed or Alive, because those two games are really good. I enjoy both of those games thoroughly, but this game by Nordic Games, not so much, really, to be honest with you guys. So yeah, if you're looking for MX vs. ATV, don't get this one. All right, so last one here, got a 43 out of 100. It's by Sodiciso. It's called Enki maybe, ENKI PC. It's basically a replayable horror experience, little content at all, so very little content for the price. Enki appears as an amateur project, something that a group of friends can develop during weekends. Unfortunately, it's a commercial product, and it must be treated as such. It's plagued by lots of design and technical issues, and it's simply not fun, by Games Village. I looked up the trailer for this, or gameplay of it. Yeah, graphically it looks horrible. It doesn't even look intriguing to play. It didn't even look horror at all. Yeah, this game, these developers, if this is their so-called game, they have a long ways to go, guys, on this. And yeah, I can't really talk about it because I only watched the trailer and I read a couple reviews. So I mean, they basically just said the game sucks. And so yeah, that's really all I want to talk about. So make sure to like this video, guys. I mean, let's see, these games got really hyped up, and not a lot of these games, but like MX vs. ATV, I know Tony Hawk's Pro Skater did, and they just didn't live up to it, really, what it comes down to. Like, people expected way more out of these games, and they got jack squat. So what I do now, like when I buy games, I wait till the game comes out, and then I read the reviews to see if it's worth the purchase. Like, it doesn't pay for me to go out and spend $60 and then get home and realize the game sucks, you know? So what I do is maybe wait a week after the game comes out, and then I'll go buy it. Like, there's a couple of sad occasions where I'll buy like MLB Day 1, or I bought Just Cause 3 on the day, like in the first couple days, but then I read it was a good game, so, and I love Just Cause. So there's a couple occasions where like you get hyped up and you get the game, but I don't regret making the purchase on Just Cause 3 or MLB The Show anytime. But if you want to look at like a new game that's coming out, like, I don't know, maybe like a new game that you've never played, wait till the reviews comes out and just see what people have to say on it. Look up some gameplay. Do your own research. I mean, don't follow other people's opinions, because they're just gonna be biased with it or whatever. So yeah, that's really all I want to talk about today, guys. Make sure to like this video, comment, rate, and subscribe, and follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and Facebook. I will talk to you guys on Monday. Have a good one.